Hello, and welcome to another exciting, inviting, scintillating, and gratifying episode of the Kevin Preston Toy Box. Today, we're going to take a look at Remco's Mighty Mike series of toys, particularly the giant action set, the Camelback Skyway, the Treacherous Camelback Skyway, I might add, which was produced in 1966. The Mighty Mike line went through the end of the 60s, and they produced a number of trucks and sets that included bridges and other obstacles for these little 4x vehicles to go over and around and through. It was a very interesting design. I can't think of very many other toys back in the 60s that had four-wheel drive vehicles in them. Certainly later in the late 70s, early 80s, when the Stompers came out and things like that, there were those 4x4 little trucks. But back in the 60s, most battery-operated cars and trucks were one-wheel drive, maybe two-wheel drive, and really, once they hit a carpet, they stopped. They were really for hard floors. So this was a very unusual set. I remember when I first got this set several years back, I was astonished how well these little vehicles really went up and over this bridge or around everyday household items. It was kind of amazing. Now, there are really two different types of trucks, if you will. The large, kind of semi-esque looking vehicle that had six wheels, and a variety of different shells and backings could be put on them. You could put a gas tank snap-on, a livestock cage snap-on, what have you, and it would pull that. And the other vehicle, and we've got it apart right now, because I'm going to show you a few things, is this Jeep. And it's four wheels, and it has a snap-on body as well, and different things can clip onto the back here as well. And the different items that can snap on, such as a little dump truck or cement mixer, what have you, came in both the sets as well as add-on packages that you could get as little accessory kits. But I wanted to show you these Mighty Mike trucks up close because they're really amazing. If you look at this, and the whole idea of this set is that you can climb over this kind of rickety bridge, if you will, and as well as other things. And if we take a moment and look at the construction of this, first of all, it's very nice plastic. I mean, this thing looks brand new. It really has aged well. And as you know, if you collect toys like I do, not all plastics age well. They harden, they snap, they break. The rubber-like tires are still the right mix of softness and firmness. And on this particular model, as I said, it's six wheels. But here's what's fascinating about it. Let's take the cab off here. Press a tab in the front, and you can take this off. And you'll see that this particular chassis, the six-wheel chassis, runs on a single D battery. The Jeep chassis runs on one or two AA batteries, and they run in parallel, which is really interesting. They don't run in series. So it's 1.5 volts, but two batteries to give you extra juice. So this particular style is the D cell, and notice it has an on-off switch controlled by this throw of this rod right here, which pushes a little tab up against the motor and completes the circuit. But what's fascinating is not here. This is a typical can motor right here, and I've taken this all apart and lubed it, cleaned it, and put it back together. But what is just amazing about these sets is you turn it over. Here's the motor drive right here. I'm hitting with my thumb right here. This is right off. This is the gear drive right off the motor. Okay, so the motor is up here. It runs a couple of reduction gears, and then turns the axle. Okay, affixed to the axle is this little armature, if you will, or fixture that has kind of dugouts in it. That these little balls. This is like one of those ball chains, like a lamp cord, but it's all one piece. It doesn't have the connector, so I hope this doesn't ever break because I don't know how I put it back together again. But anyway, this little bead string connects to this axle, which is a free spinning axle, and it's connected to this right here, okay, to make it four-wheel drive. So as this axle turns, it forces this one to turn. It's ingenious, but that's not all. If you look closely right here, attached to this axle is a gear to engage this back axle. So it really is a 6x6. It's 6 wheels, 6-wheel drive. And remember, this is late 60s. I don't know of any other toy that had that. And you may be thinking, it probably doesn't work very well. It's probably kind of a half-baked idea. Well, I'll show you. Okay, here's a pair of pliers, a cassette tape, and a Tupperware lid. Amazing. Now, I bought my set about 10 years ago, and I've only played with it one time. And I got the truck, I got this Jeep, and then I got another Jeep that is missing a wheel. But back when I played with it, I just played with the 6-wheel truck I showed you with, because this one was broken, and it still is. But we're going to repair it in this episode. If you look at the Jeep, you can take the top off. It's 4-wheel drive and it has the same lamp cord bead drive right here. Now this one runs on 2 AA batteries that go in this area right here. Now I took this unit apart already, and I oiled the motor and cleaned the gears. But you'll see something wrong right away. This tab is broken away from the rivet that holds it, and this completes the electrical circuit. What I found when I was putting this back together is, I don't know if you can see this very well, but if you get very close in here, this tab, the other end of the tab that's broken loose, makes contact with the motor contact right here, and is regulated by this switch. You see that action right there? Now what had happened is somewhere along the line this got bent, and it shorted against this piece of metal right here and shorted the circuit. And I know this to be happening because when I was playing with it, I was manually holding this against this part that's broken off against this, and all of a sudden it got so hot I had to take my hand away because it was shorting. What we're going to do is we're going to bend this metal back and make these micro adjustments so we don't get that short circuit. But we can't do anything until we fix this problem right here, and which is that the copper contact or brass contact is no longer riveted to this piece right here to complete the circuit off the battery right here. So if you look, the issue is what are we going to do, because this tab is completely loose. How do we get it back on here? And I could rivet it, but I've got another idea. Okay, we're back from the shop, and what I did was a workaround. Instead of trying to figure out how to rivet this back together, if you take a real close look, I used a tiny machine screw, washer, and nut, and went through the back side, the inside of the rivet, and just snugged that brass plate right back down to where it was. And then I recontoured the other end of it, this brass tab right there, if you can make that out, right there, to properly make contact with the motor. Now, when we put batteries in this unit again, I like using the word again because it makes me sound continental. If you don't know what continental means, look it up. And as I've said before, if you'd been paying attention, which I question sometimes how well you do pay attention, you'll notice that on a lot of these Remco toys, batteries go in parallel. They go in the same direction. So they're not looking for 3 volts, they're looking at 1.5 volts, but greater amperage. So there you have it. Now, the question is, does the thing work? Of course it does. This is a Kevin Preston toy box. everything works. So now that we got both cars working, it might be some fun to go through the box and see what's inside. This is the box, like I said, it's huge. It's a couple feet wide, couple feet deep. And we see a number of things. It was originally stapled together as a point of interest with a litho sheet on top. And here we have the inside packaging. Like I said, I played with this one time and I bagged everything. Let me turn the screen here so I can see what the hell I'm doing. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy kind of talk, and I like it. As you can see, I've bagged everything up. Here is the extra Jeep I have. I thought about taking a little spare tire here and making a wheel out of it. I wonder if I can get away with doing that. Here are the various backs that go on the large truck. This one's really interesting. I think you can actually fill this with water, and I'm not quite sure what you do with it. I really don't. I don't know if I'm missing something. It says gasoline. But anyway, regardless of how it works, you can snap these on like this. Very nice. Here's the cement mixer and the cows, what have you. You can see that I have the original inserts, which is this Remco-esque sort of pattern, and the instruction sheets. There's a separate instruction sheet for the actual trucks, as you can see here, wrapped in plastic, and to assemble the Skyway track. Now what's interesting about this Skyway, or bridge as I should say, is you can make a number of models anything from 6 foot long to 12 foot long. Imagine a 12 foot long bridge. And you can see the parts in this super set that I have here. The parts are huge. There's a lot. I'm going to make the short 6 footer since my table here is 8 feet and I want to have some room on each end. So let's go ahead and through the magic of time compression, when we return, we'll have the bridge built and we'll have the cars running on it. Hey! We've gone ahead and built the smallest bridge in the instructions, just so it would fit on my table and we could play around with it really easily. And as you can see, it's everything still fits together. A couple of these little pylons got warped downward a little bit, so I simply taped a little packing tape down to my countertop here. So the big question of the day is can one of these trucks make the treacherous Camelback Skyway? Let's see. We're going to take our truck, activate it. We're going to put it right on the Camelback. This is like one of the coolest things you ever saw. Now after that, let's see if our little Jeep can make it. And there you go. Okay, I just fitted this livestock delivery trailer, which I don't think has ever been played with. I just had to put the doors on it, which I don't think were ever fitted to it. I just put the doors on. They were in a separate little bag. That was an original bag. And I'm going to go ahead and put the livestock in, which I had sealed up here in another bag. We have these nicely detailed ram's horn sheep that I don't think have ever been touched or out of their bag. And we're going to put them in the back of this trailer. It's not a very even floor, so I don't think they're going to be very comfortable. But there they are. We're going to close them. Look at the level of detail Remco put in this. It was just nice. Decals and all that. Why there's a picture of a horse and I'm putting 2 sheep in there, I don't know.
Now after the fun of all that, I realized I had another Mighty Mike set. Yeah, I did. This one was an Astro Train from about 1968. It's unopened, never been opened. And basically the Astro Train set had the 6-wheel truck chassis that they kind of made in a sort of a sci-fi sort of motif. And the front part included a little copter launcher. There was a submarine that would go through the water, and it was made up the middle part of the unit. And then the back part had this little robot launcher that would launch a little robot that would move across the floor. It was very cute. I really like this set. I love the packaging, but what I really hated about the set was this kid, because you just knew he was a little a-hole. You just knew it. Thank you for stopping by the Kevin Preston Toy Box.